What up, y'all? The Jeff Wilson here, and today on Jeff Does What, have you ever sat around and was trying to figure out, hey, I need to replicate this thing right here? Well, we got something to help you out with that today. So what we have here is the Creality CR-Scan Otter. Now this right here is something that you can use to help scan and make 3D images that you can upload to your computer to help create and make things a reality really easy. Now, like I said, it's not something simple. Like I said, it is, but it isn't. There is a lot of work to be done with this, but it is all pocket size, has this nice case right here, so you can take it wherever you need. Of course, like I said, we got all of our cables and manuals, USB sticks, and everything for all of that. But let's dive into this. Now, as you see right here, we have all sorts of cameras on this to help capture the image of whatever object it is we are trying to work with. And being Creality, you already know it's going to be a good product. I've had extremely great luck with all their products, whether it's the laser engravers or 3D printers. They've been in the business for years. And this right here is just something to use them objects to make them even better. So as you see on here, we actually have 4 lenses on here. We got 2 for short focal length and 2 for long focal length. That way, like I said, we're able to work with stuff as small as 10 millimeters and as great as 2,000 millimeters. Now with this, we're able to either scan in black and white or 24-bit color. That way, whenever you're scanning something, if you're needing multiple layers or for different colors for certain 3D printers, it helps you separate that being that 24-bit color. And as you're moving it, if you have a shaky hand where you're trying to move stuff around it, it does have some anti-shaking to help make this even more of a smooth unit. Because like I said, if you're walking around something, it's hard to keep it exactly perfect. Now, like I said, if you have years of automotive paint experience where you're used to holding something for hours on end while you're trying to paint, it does help out. But at the same time, like I said, if you're not real careful, it doesn't matter. Now with the accuracy of this unit, we're talking 0.02 millimeters. That is extremely small, especially when anything you're messing with, 0.20 millimeters, you can't point that out on no ruler or anything like that. We are talking for 3D printing or laser engraving, you're not going to notice anything smaller than that. The human eye is not built for that small a detail. Now, once you zoom in on stuff, whole nother ball game, but we're not trying to create masterpieces with this. We're trying to help us recreate something so we can bring it into either ShapeUp, Corel, any of them editing programs where we can sit there and fine tune and tweak exactly what we need this to be to get exactly how we're wanting it to be. Now, when we start talking about size of this, you gotta think how small 10 millimeters is. That's roughly a centimeter. And we're talking about, and it's 10 millimeters cube on what we can create, and as large as 2,000 millimeters cube. So once you start messing with that, that is actually a really big size of what we can work with there. Most objects, you're not gonna be able to get that big unless you have some of them high-end 3D printers. Otherwise, you are going to have to multiple glue pieces together to get exactly what you're wanting. But that's a big size difference on what this little small compact unit can do. Now, as far as the speed of it, we're talking 20 FPS. Most people are like, well, I don't know what that is. Your average cell phone, depending on how you have it set up, unless you go and make your changes, most of them are recording footage around that 20 FPS. Now, like this, we are recording 60 FPS on here, but that's just because how I wanted to set up my camera on this, and it's what I like best in editing. But if I'm trying to scan something, 20 FPS is a lot, because you gotta think you have an object that is not moving and you're sitting there just focusing on it. And so that is taking a lot of images really quick on that one object, which the more pictures, the better the outcome you have whenever you're trying to recreate something. Now, whenever you're doing that, you can, like I said, as you're trying to recreate this, scanning this, like I said, you think the issue you're having in that 0.02 millimeters, you're talking about the ridges of a dime, if that. Like I said, them ridges are smaller than, or let me fix this, them ridges, it's still gonna pick them up on there. Like I said, that is some high-end detail what this compact unit is doing. Now, before I got this, I've never attempted to mess with one, never really thought much about it, because I'm more hands-on on stuff. I'm real good with doing stuff on the computer. This right here is just a little tool now that I get to use to help create stuff to make it even faster on my end. Instead of me sitting there trying to fully recreate it just by sitting here looking at this, drawing around on my computer to recreate this, I'm able to import a 3D scan with this. Now you might sit there, Jeff, what if I want to do something besides inanimate objects? Well, you can sit there and scan a human being in about 2 minutes with this. Like I said, this right here, you're 2 minutes to scan a human. You're going to pick up the hairs. You're going to pick up all the facial features. You're going to be able to get an extremely detailed object that you can create a bobblehead with really easy without that time and hassle of going through and trying to fully create something from scratch. You get their features extremely well with this. With little effort, you're talking 2 minutes of scanning and you're going to have almost a perfect 3D object to import into ShapeUp. Also, you might ask, okay, that's all good and all. We're doing everything indoor. What about outdoor? Well, same thing. Like I said, they have the technology built in where we're able to take this same unit outside and scan whatever object we want out there as well. Thus making it easier for us to create what we are wanting to create. Now earlier, you pointed out 4 cameras, but as we're looking on here, there's more than 4 cameras. That's where this little million pixel colored RGB camera comes in. Like I said, that's for your 24-bit full color scanning right there. And like I said, it will help you capture even in low light areas. Like I said, of course, like I said, you got the built-in LEDs, so you're able to help brighten up whatever object you're working on. This ain't, the only way to describe it, it's basically a professional 3D scanner at the hobbyist level right here. Now this thing isn't cheap by any means, but it's not expensive either. I mean, some of them scanners, whenever these things first came out, we're talking several $1,000s. And this right here is sub $1,000. I believe right now on Creality.com, they sell it for like $720. That right there, if you pay enough people to recreate stuff, which I will from time to time, I'll get on, say, Fiverr or something, and I'll send pictures of something what I'm having issues with that I can't create. I'm now saving that money, investing in this instead, and getting a better outcome because it's more like what I want it to be. Now you might also be sitting there, what about on small objects that are basically flat that have little curvature into it, that's what I'm needing to recreate is that curve? Well, that's where these reflective dots come in. These things right here, you take and you put on the object and it will recognize these dots to help pick up with the curvature of whatever you are working with. I know you've seen the videos on YouTube or on TV where they're showing a lot of the stuff with green screens when they're trying to recreate video games. They see these little balls on people and stuff to help capture their movements. Well, that's exactly what these are doing. Like I said, it's able to pick up the elevation change or size change and to help create whatever object you're trying to mess with at a higher precision, more precise, higher accuracy. These dots right there work extremely well with this camera. And it's something that on some objects you need, because some little part or something for a car or something like that might have a 3mm change in it. Well, these will help pick that up, so you're now, what it recognized as a flat object can now pick up that little curvature going up or down or bowling, whatever it is you're working with, to make things so much more efficient and less time you're having to sit there and edit it to try to recreate that curvature. Now we come to the back side of our unit. As you see, we got our basics on here. You got our pause, start, exposure, and ain't much more to say about that. I mean, it's all right there, right exactly where your hand's going to be. I'm just amazed by this little unit, to be honest. I did forget to go along with them dots. It does come with this little table right here as well, so you're able to set your object on there and help keep everything dialed in while you're working on it. So to go back over this, we're talking about accuracy up to 0.02 millimeters at 60 millimeters, 3D resolution at 0.05 through 2 millimeters, scanning speed 20 FPS, size small as 10 millimeter cube and as big as 2,000 millimeter. It's got it has infrared structure light. Your working distance 110 to 1,000 millimeters. It does color mapping. It's able to make different geometrical its output. We're able to do OBJ, STL, PLY. It does IMU. Like I said, the color supplement, it's got 2 white LEDs on there, which LEDs are getting extremely bright these days, and it's making it where, heck, lighting is it's just been getting amazing what it's actually doing these days. I mean, LED technology is just crazy. And like I said, this has 8 infrared LEDs in here. It's a class 1 laser, so it is eye safe. Like I said, it's going to work on Windows, Mac, and it can do wireless with iPhone or Android. Like I said, it's all touch button whenever you're using a unit. It can do audible prompt. It does have the calibration board. And like I said, the operating temp, you're talking -10 Celsius to 40 degrees Celsius. I'm not sure what that is Fahrenheit. That's just what I've read in the manual. And one of these days, either some of the other countries are going to start putting everything in Fahrenheit, or we're just going to have to give and start moving to the metric system. It's just all it is to it. It's getting too much these days on that end, but that's for a whole nother story. Now, talking about the weight of this thing, you're thinking as much as what this do, constantly having to hold it or do whatever with it. This right here is only 390 grams. That is extremely light for what this unit can do, what all is packed off in here. I mean, is what it is. And if that 390 is getting heavy, you don't want to hold it like that, course, we can screw it onto a gimbal or something like that. Stand, anything to help hold this, whatever works best for you. Like I said, on a gimbal, with this already having anti-shaking technology in it, it's gonna make it that much cleaner of a result. Now, once we have the CR-Scan Otter hooked up to our computer, now with this, you do need a pretty powerful machine for this. Like I said, your basic computers, them cheap things, most of them are not going to have the power you need. You need something with a lot of oomph to it and a good graphics card. Like I said, these scanners are power hungry and they like a lot of RAM and fast processors, and it's something you need to be on your A game with your computer. Luckily, I have a decent computer built up because I do a lot of graphic design, and so I need something with a lot of power and a lot of RAM and good graphics card. But once we have everything installed, we'll end up taking our scanner and it'll scan that QR code on the back of this. And with that, you'll end up taking this and basically placing it on there. It will have you go give different directions to set your calibration. It takes about 2 to 3 minutes, but once it's done, like I said, it's good to go. Now I'm going to show you the steps involved on this to get everything going. So what we're going to scan is this bad boy right here. Look how cute that little thing is. We're going to get this all scanned and show you what this little scanner can do, just off with no training, nothing at all, how simple and easy it is to work this. Now, with everything installed, all we're going to do, we'll come to new project. We're going to name this Owl, but you think they would have used an Otter to send with this, but it's not mine, so, well, I didn't create the product, should I say, but, and we're just going to do, like I said, normal. It's a small object, textured, high quality, and we're going to exclude the flat base. And we'll hit scan and show you how that is done. So we will take this and we'll have it lined up on our computer. And what I find easiest is to slowly spin this. And as it is doing that, it is picking up the object. Now I will actually spin this probably 2 to 3 times to get the base, the top, all around, to make sure we're getting as many points and frames as possible for it. So when you're doing that, and you gotta be careful, like I said, this can't, like I said, do something like that, it moves it out of frame, and which can lead to it not messing up your image and you gotta start over. Well, not really start over, but have a little hiccups on the way. So make sure to take your time, keep this as steady as possible. Like I said, get from a few different angles. Like I said, I find it easiest to rotate whatever I am scanning on here, just to make my life easier. Now, once we have our scan complete, we'll tell it yes. It will go do some processing. Now this, we will have a little bit of cleanup. So I'll hit shift to select with my lasso tool out, and I'll delete a lot of that noise background that I don't need. And like I said, you're able to move this around to make it real easy to delete what we're not wanting in the image, the final outcome. So we'll sit there, play with it some, get rid of what we don't need. And once we get this exactly where we're wanting, there's more cleanup I can do. We'll come over, we got one-click processing. We'll click that to execute all operations with default parameters. You can go and change some stuff to make it best work for you. This is just how I use this, because I'm eventually going to move this into another program. But I'm just showing you how well Creality's program works as far as the scanning operation goes, and how simple and easy it is to recreate something like this. Now this right here, I already know it is going to turn out extremely close to this, just how powerful this camera is. You can hear them fans kicking on this PC, because they are loud. It is doing a lot of processing, and it is really working at CPU and GPU in this thing. So we'll let it keep doing its thing. I'll be right back with processing. And as you look on here, you can see we got all sorts of detail. I mean, coloring, everything looks almost to the T. This right here, it's showing it has 705,000 facts on here just to recreate this. Like I said, for the most part, everything came out almost exactly how it was. Like I said, there's a few little things, like I said, I could have done a little bit more cleanup, but I'm just trying to show you the basics of this, just to help further you along with creating other 3D projects. Or if you're trying to, say you're in a manufacturing shop and you make something out of clay and you're trying to make it for a car. Well, that's where this scanner is able to come on. You're able to come through, scan it with that scanner, import it into whatever program, get a 3D effect of it, and set it up where you can start making injection moldings or 3D printing that part. Anything to help make your life easier. All with this little handheld scanner that is extremely powerful. Now with this video, I wanted to try something a little different than what I have been doing on other videos. Let me know if you like it. If you do, hit that subscribe button, comment down below. It will help out the channel. If you don't like it, still comment below to let me know what to change, what you don't like about it. And as always, y'all take it easy.